T-minus 4, 3, 2, 1. Following is a 24 hours podcast.
A Vancouver environmental think tank says VANOC should spend almost $5 million to offset the 2010 Winter Olympics CO2 pollution. The David Suzuki Foundation said VANOC should measure and reduce energy and emissions and invest in projects endorsed by Switzerland's Gold Standard Foundation. It estimated the Games would produce more than 320,000 tons of CO2, mostly from travel and transport. VANOC paid $10,000 for the report, which admitted the downside of carbon offset scheme.
If VANOC follows the recommendations set out in our report, the 2010 Winter Games could be the most climate-friendly games in history.
And you talked a lot about using Torino as an example. I covered those games, and they had their sustainability program, but in the city itself, it was a very smoggy place to be. The airspace was very polluted, and in part, that was due to the transportation problems. They used a lot of Greyhound-sized buses. I was often the only passenger. Can you talk about the airspace here in 2010, and also skeptics to carbon offsets often say they look like licenses to pollute or self-imposed fines to pollute.
Right, and so that's why you always start, as all of us here have probably overemphasized by now, you start by reducing, because if you're only going to offset, then you are ducking the responsibility, a significant portion of the responsibility. So they are a tool that comes after you have focused on reduction.
The David Suzuki Foundation had free reign to go to Olympic venues, construction sites, and if you are working with other NGOs and giving them access to open the books, to open the doors, just to let them see what you're doing and maybe give you tips and pointers.
Well, I don't want to create the impression that it's free reign to go to venues. What we did with DSF was we brought them, because they were under construction during the time that this report was developed, so safety first, but we brought DSF into our office for a week and sat them down with all of our major business units and venue designers and planning teams, and that's how we did the exchange. And we've also been talking to other environmental groups, getting their opinions, but we think the DSF report is a pretty good surrogate for how the environmental movement as a whole feels about what needs to be done to reduce the climate impact of the Games, and what some of the challenges are and the methodologies that should be applied that will have some credibility.
So they allow these different organizing committees to get away with tossing little crumbs at carbon emissions with some sort of offset credit, and ignoring the fact that they cut down trees, and ignoring the fact that they build highways into endangered areas, and to let themselves be used as a political tool and a propaganda tool by VANOC is really unconscionable.
24hours.ca